top document in your packet is a copy of the objection form. I know in the back it's hard to see this slide. In fact, it's probably hard to see the slide from the first row, so that's why we made copies. For any of you who didn't get this packet, please give us your email. We'll email you the packet and copies of the PowerPoint. I want to go over some of the things on the objection form because it's very important that you fill out this form correctly. If they're filled out incorrectly or incompletely, they will be disregarded. So first order of business is to do it right. You must put on your name, address, phone number. If you have an attorney's name, address, phone number. State the specific parts of the preliminary decree objected to. Identify the specific grounds and evidence on which the objections are based. Use additional paper if necessary. They give you like 4 lines on here. So additional paper will be necessary. If you are objecting to a specific water right, identify the number, decree page number, and the water source. And if you're objecting to more than one water right, you have to do one of these forms for each of your objections to each water right. Page 2 is a very detailed explanation of how you mail this in, because you don't just mail it to the water court. You have to mail a copy of the objection form and all attachments, and we're going to go over what your attachments need to be in a minute. You have to mail this to not only the water court, but also the representative for the tribe, the representative for the U.S. Department of Justice, and the representative for the Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation. So you're actually going to mail out 4 packets. And you are going to want to mail, you're going to certify that you have mailed it to all 4 parties. If you fail to do that, it's another reason for it to be discarded. You're going to want to mail this by certified mail, return receipt requested. Just get all the proof you can that you filed it, and that you filed it on time. It must be received by the court. By what date? December 6th. Very good. And you all get an A+. You can hand deliver it to the water court if you want to drive to Bozeman, but it says you can email it. I don't recommend that. Don't recommend that at all. Okay. Another page in the packet, I think I've got a slide of this also. This is information that you must gather and file with your water right objections. So these are papers you're going to find, you're going to make copies of, and file them. First one is a legal description of your property. You get that off your property tax bill or your deed. The next one is a list and copies of your water rights claims / abstracts. You can get those, of course, from the DNRC. How many of you have those at hand? Okay, some of you are going to need to be calling the DNRC. They will email them to you, and you can print them out, and then you've got them. Another thing you're going to want to include is a description of your objection and how you're individually affected. And, you know, you want to write it concisely and, so they'll read it. If it's 3 pages long, they might just decide not to read it thoroughly. You want it to be something they will read thoroughly, but it has to be specific. You also need to include any property maps that you have that you can include. You can ask your county offices for cadastral maps. You can get GIS and cadastral maps also online. But this would be an important addition to your packet. You want to make your packet look as, I hesitate to use the word professional, I don't mean professional, but as complete and as thoughtful as possible. If you just send them something that they can disregard as, incomplete or sloppy or what, any excuse in the world that they have to disregard them, I'm sorry to say, will probably be used. Now, you can call me a skeptic, you can call me cynical, and I will proudly say that yes, I am. But if you've never been skeptical or cynical, this is the time to be. You're protecting yourself. And this is really important. Okay, another thing you're going to want to include is your acreage or crop production report, if applicable. Okay? That's important because that's how you use your water. If you can provide pictures, particularly of water sources or diversions, ponds, the water that you think is going to be harmed by this compact, include pictures. You know, pictures are cheap now, and you can get copies at, I don't know, Walgreens, Walmart for a few pennies. So if you're digital, run out with your camera, take pictures of everything. You want to, let's see, how can I put this cleanly? Overwhelm, yes. We used to call them barium and something that's probably pretty common on some of your cattle ranges. When we wanted to win an argument, and they just weren't listening, well, we just overwhelmed them with information. So overwhelm, pictures, maps, everything you can possibly think of that supports your specific objection. Okay, what happens then? The court's going to review the objection. If you've shown good cause for your objection, the water court will hold a hearing, and you will be invited to attend and speak. Now it says, on any objection that cannot be informally resolved. That's implying that the water court will look at some of these objections and say, oh, this is an easy fix, we'll just say, we'll never touch this well, or whatever. That's what would be an informal resolution, I assume. But I'm thinking that most of you in this room who are going to go to the effort to file objections and include all of this material, you've got very challenging objections that you're raising, and you want to be able to defend that to the water court. So I almost think you'd want to just take it as far as you can. Make them look you in the eye while you're telling them how this is going to affect your water and your property and your livelihood. So after they've resolved all objections and they have, then the water court judge will issue a final decree. Now, there are some rights that exist during this preliminary process that might change during their deliberation and adjudication process. If one of your water rights it's been changed, if the language in the compact indicates something different will happen to your water right than you interpreted the first time with the preliminary decree, then you could object, but only if there has been a change to what's anticipated to happen with your water rights. So here are some tips on objections, and I know people, at the previous meetings we've held, people really want us to say, they want us to give them the language that they should use in their objection. What should I say in my objection? Well, we don't know. Number one, we're not attorneys, but number two, we don't know your situation. We don't know the history of your water usage. We don't know all of the details and data about your well or your irrigation. So only you know what the language needs to be, but we can give you some tips. So, the first tip is begin at the beginning. It seems pretty straightforward. This is your history. You want to tell as much about your land as possible. Using Tim as an example, he's been on this land for a long time. He knows the history. He knows the history back to grandparents and great-grandparents. Include that. That's important. One of the phrases that is in the compact is a reference to time immemorial. And Kate can tell you more about what that really means, but basically what it means is the tribe is saying, well, we've had these rights since time immemorial. In other words, since the first drop of water fell, it's been theirs. So you're going to show by your history of your land and your property and your water usage that you have a right. Okay? Remember that the water court wants to see specific objections about your property and the objections that are relating to how this compact will be administered and how that administration might negatively affect you. They want to see that. They want you to show them that you understand the negativity of the potential administration of this compact and how it affects you and your water. So you need to make that very clear. Here are some issues for objection that you can include. Will your volume be diminished? You know, your acre feet, gallons per minute, cubic feet, whatever. Get real specific. I am not a hydrologist, I'm not an expert on that, but you can certainly you can look at the paperwork you have. When you have a well drilled, they give you the rate. You all know this. Put that information in there. Show the court you know what you're talking about. Talk about the flow per minute, gallons per minute, cubic feet per second, miner's inch. Show them you know your stuff. Talk about the priority date. When was your water apportioned and used? When did it become water that was